Hello, and welcome to the Sacred Priestess podcast, where I help beautiful women step into and activate their sacred feminine power so that they can find clarity, connection, and confidence as they begin and move through their spiritual healing journey. I'm Hayley, and it is beautiful to have you here today, whatever you are up to, whatever you are doing, where we are talking about 5 ways to activate your sacred feminine power and what that really means to connect to your sacred feminine power. And I think with a lot of things that go along with this and with spiritual practice in general, I think we tend to make it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be, especially with the huge surge that there has been around spirituality within the awakening that's happening on the planet. I think that things can get a little bit too much, there's a lot of information out there. And sometimes just coming back to simple practices, these simple practices are the things that are going to get you more connected. When we're coming back into body, when we're coming back into the present, where we're sort of not in our minds and consuming all of this information, not that it's not brilliant that we have that, right? We want that, we need that. And the more information that we have, the more choice that we have in how we bring our spirituality to life, how we bring our divine feminine to life. But I think sometimes we forget that we're still living life at the same time. And if you're like me, you're a busy mum, you've got 3 kids, you're working, you're having to do all the things, it can be very, very hard to bring those spiritual practices into reality, into the way that you're living, into your beingness because of that. And I think that's why it's really important to just remember the basics and find those small little ways of being that we can bring into our everyday life, because otherwise what's the point? There's so many women out there that say to me, oh my God, Hayley, when I'm in meditation, when I'm at my yoga class, when I'm in the zone, like I'm all good. But as soon as I go out back into the lounge room, or I get home, or I do school pickup, it's just madness again. And you can't keep that zen. And so it's finding the ways to do that and becoming in and stepping into your spirituality, your sacred feminine, your and this sort of alignment where you're there all the time, where it's just how you are, it's just your constant state of vibration. And so that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. So yeah, like I said, there's some really simple ways. And when we're talking about the sacred feminine, we're talking about, a lot of these things. We're talking about flow, surrender, walking with our intuition, speaking our desires, standing in sovereignty, standing in alignment with higher self. All of these types of things that come forward to actually guide where we're heading, to guide us. Again, I have so many women saying they want to, live in their purpose. They want to live a soul-led life where they're happy and joyful. And these are the things that bring us that. These are those things that bring us, like I said, that consistent alignment, that consistent path, the unfolding of the path, which we talk about a lot in the mystery school when we work with Goddess Sophia and we work on that, on the beautiful divine feminine path that we walk. So again, 5 ways. Here we go. Number 1, speaking your desires, which I know is a lot harder than it sounds. But once we begin doing this in small ways, we can start doing it in the bigger things, right? So you really need to allow yourself to speak your truth. Not what you think you should be saying to somebody, not the way, you think that it's going to sound better or be nicer. You've just got to say what you feel. And I'm not saying like you just walk up to somebody that's been annoying you or that you think has a problem with you and just start yelling in their face. We still want to speak through the heart, but we want to speak our truth. We want to speak how we're really feeling. And we want to allow ourselves to be open to hearing what they're feeling, to make them comfortable, to be honest with us and speak their truth with us. And I spoke about this a few weeks ago, so please go back and find, I'm sorry that I can't think about which one it is off the top of my head, but where we talked about speaking our truth as divine feminine beings and how that truth of those desires, of your emotions, of the things that you want and need within your life start in the womb. They start in this space of beautiful creation, and it moves up like a flame from the womb into your power center through that authority and sovereignty, through your heart space, that beautiful sacred heart full of those rose geometries. and up into the throat to be expressed in however it wants to express. And so we need to think of that movement from the womb up through the throat chakra, and really honoring and speaking those desires, wants, needs, and truths. And like I said, you don't have to start doing it really big. You can do it in little ways, like, no, actually, I really want that piece of chocolate cake, and that's okay. Or, no, you know what? I actually am not loving on my job right now, and it doesn't mean I have to quit today, but how about I work for 6 months' time? You know what I mean? You have to be honest about that, speaking that truth. And again, you don't have to always speak it to somebody else. Speaking your truth, could you be like doing what I just did then, talking to yourself in the car or writing it in your journal? But it's about being honest with yourself and honest with the things that you want really from deep down within. Because I don't think I quite honestly didn't realize how much I didn't do that until I started doing it, if that makes sense, right? Like there were so many things where I was like, you know what? I actually don't feel that way. I'm just saying I do. Like sometimes like you really don't realize that. So yeah, fun times. So that was number 1, speak your desires, your truths, your needs and your wants. Number 2, following your intuition. So many people just want their intuition to be louder and brighter and bigger. And I think this is one of the things, is that we have expectation on what intuition should look like, be like, feel like. We have all of these sort of like assumptions of how people who are in the spiritual space, in the intuitive space, we have assumptions on how we think they get their intuition and how loud it must be and how, bright it must be and all of those things. But it's not always big bells and whistles. Your intuition is a nudge from inside, a nudge from your soul, a nudge from your heart, from your inner being. It's not always, going out to other beings, your guides and your angels, and them showing you big pictures and light and sparkle. It's a deep inner knowing. And especially, again, like I said, when women come to me saying, what's my purpose? I just want to live a joyful life. I just want to be happy in my everyday. That comes from following your heart. It comes from following what is inside you, not what your guides are telling you, not what angels are telling you, not what galactic beings are telling you. It comes from your higher self, from your soul. And I think with intuition, we need to start getting more used to really being present with our bodies, being present with our energy, rather than reaching out for answers to somewhere else, because that just still comes back to, the whole religious indoctrination of everything you need is outside yourself. You've got to search outside yourself. And people do that in spirituality with guides and angels. Oh, they're outside myself. I've got to ask them. They're outside myself. They're better than me. They're more knowing than me. We need to learn to come inward. It is with you. Everything is with you. You know everything. You know everything. And so it's following those small little nudges in the rest, in the quietude, in being present with your body, present with your energy. And it's about following those little things. It's about following, okay, well, what do I really want for breakfast? Hey, body, what do you want for breakfast? What do I really feel about this? How do I really want to move in this? What is my heart saying? Is this what I'm stepping into right now, whether it be a new job or wanting to move house? Does it make me feel expansive? Do I get excited and feel like, oh my gosh, this is so in alignment and I'm so excited about this? Or does it make you go, oh my God, I really don't want to do that? That's your intuition. That's your soul going, stop, abort, right? When you're wanting to do something that is not in alignment. So it's following those little things. And I'm not saying don't learn to connect more to guides, to angels, to all the other beautiful multidimensional beings that we, are so blessed to be able to communicate with and talk to. But we need to start with self first, trusting self, honoring self. Again, it comes down to that, and to following that intuition that's coming from inside of you. So yeah, sorry, I get on a bit of a rant with that. I get a bit passionate about that, because so many people come just wanting to like keep looking outside, when, it's the opposite really. So number 3, honor and respect your womb and the feminine body. Something else that I get on a rant with. And again, I've done a few podcasts over the last couple of months on this, or over the last few months. So please, again, you can go back through the podcast if you're new here. or let me know if you've already listened to them. But we spend so many years disconnected from the womb, right from the word get-go. So many women are taught to disrespect the womb right from when we get our first one. It's no longer seen as a rite of passage or initiation. It's, oh, well, everything's downhill from here. And, you get taught to shame it, to judge it, to ignore the cycles of it, to suppress cycles with certain little pills where, you don't get your cycle for ages and it doesn't allow your natural system to flow. You get angry with it, frustrated at it. You walk around saying that next life you're going to be a man because you don't want to have a period and do all those things. And it's just such a disrespectful way to be in the feminine and with the feminine body. The womb is the center of creation. And I understand that at this day and age, the way that things are, there are women who struggle with fertility, who struggle with the womb because of the agenda and the way we're not only taught to look at it energetically and spiritually, but, due to illnesses and things that are part of all of that and all of that suppression. So, and I get that and I know that, but the more that we can start honoring and respecting the sanctity of the womb, the chalice, the holy grail, and the respect for divine union and respect for this is the way that we bring sacred souls to this planet, then the more all of that stuff is going to start turning around. And we've spent so many years ignoring cycles and pushing through symptoms, and even with PMS, and they people get all funny about getting emotional. Oh, your period's coming and getting all emotional. But the reason we get emotional is because those emotions are coming up to be released. If we're getting upset before our cycle starts, before we menstruate, it's because our body and our energy, our emotional being needs to get rid of those tears, of that grief. It's if we get angry, it's because we're needing to express and get rid of that anger in order to shed, in order to go through the next cycle. Men do it daily. Men do it 9 to 5. Men do it, in 24-hour cycles. We do it on a monthly basis. And so as much men release all of that as they go, well, some of them, throughout their days, just as a normal thing. We do it sort of over a longer period of time, and we need to respect and honor that. We need to respect that. And when we start approaching this with respect and curiosity and love, when we start approaching our cycles and our womanhood through that, we become more attuned to those seasons. We hear our body better. We feel into that space better. We honor it more. We sit with it more in reverence with it and love on it for what it is, this beautiful sacred space where we tap into the vastness of creation, the vastness of manifestation, the vastness of our emotions. It's its own little solar system. It's its own little, universe within there. And it's so simple to be able to hear messages from here, just placing your hands on your womb and listening, just taking a big deep breath and tuning into her energy and what she needs right now in different stages of your cycle. And even just sitting and saying, I honor this body that carries me through this lifetime. I honor this space of creation. I honor this space of womanhood, and really just starting to connect into it, because there is so much wisdom in the body, and we need to begin honoring that and flowing with that rather than ignoring it or pushing against it. So that's number 3, honor and respect the womb and the feminine body. Number 4, creating small sacred rituals. And this is what I was just talking about earlier. We are busy. We're working, we're mummying, we if you don't have your own children, maybe you're a carer for a parent or a sibling, so, there's lots going on. We have a lot going on in this lifetime. So sometimes our days are going to be small little things that just really bring us back into that space of alignment. And it could be as simple as, I have a crystal board, and I'll put some crystals around, put a tea light candle, I'll shuffle my affirmation cards that are from my beautiful goddesses as part of the work I do that's come forward. So each goddess has 7 affirmations, and I shuffle them all up and I pull one out, I stick it in the middle of the board and I light my candle and I repeat the affirmation and I just tune into my body just for a couple of minutes and ask what this really means to me, how I can carry that with me today, bring myself into alignment. And sometimes that is all I have time for. You know, if it's a busy morning, if kids have got different things on and I'm running kids to different places, or it's over a weekend and there's a lot going on, just to bring in that moment of presence with my body, that moment of presence with my energy. So yeah, it only needs to be small, tiny little things like that. Affirmations, just pulling one card and sitting with it and journaling with it for 5 minutes, you know, just going outside and taking your shoes off, taking your socks off and just walking on the earth and purposefully, intentionally tuning into Gaia and bringing up her beautiful energy, connecting into your surroundings, the trees, the fairies, you know, that beautiful nature realm, the telluric realm. And yeah, so it doesn't have to be a lot that you have to do, you know, throughout your day, to just bring yourself back into balance and bring yourself back into center. And again, sometimes it's just doing something simple. It's about getting back to simplicity and, you know, just maybe even lighting a little bit of smudge and swirling that around you for a second, and just grounding, you know. Sometimes that's all it needs to be, and sometimes that's all it takes to get you back on track. So the last one, number 5, embracing your healing and your shadow. For those of you who are newer to this work, you know, this is all about what happens when we start bringing up the past, when past hurts start coming up to be released, when we start looking at, you know, why we do certain things, the things that are holding us back, that we want to start, you know, kind of going through and moving them out of the way so that we can sort of step into the next level version of ourselves. And I just want to reiterate that when I talk about stepping into the next level, the next version, higher self, or on a higher timeline, it doesn't mean that what you are now isn't good enough, right? We're always evolving, we're always changing, we're always moving. And it's about that expansion and growth. It's not about who I am sitting here today isn't enough, or isn't healed enough, or isn't capable enough, or isn't, you know, emotionally strong enough, or whatever, emotionally, stable enough. It's just that, you know, as we work through this and we shed these layers, we just step into, you know, a higher vibration, a different version, and that's okay. So yeah, it's all about embracing that healing, embracing the shadow, healing the past versions of yourself, and looking at those past versions of yourself, looking at the past in general, the things that you've been through, the things that you have done that you may be holding, where you may need to forgive yourself, where you may be holding shame and guilt towards yourself, and where things, you know, have happened to you. It's about looking at those and embracing them and loving on them and working through them. And stepping into sacred feminine and spirituality isn't about consistent positivity. It's not all, well, let's just say positive affirmations all day and everything's going to be okay. It's about acceptance. It's about accepting where you are right now today. Are you sad? Are you grieving? Is something coming up, you know, with the full moon? Is something coming up with whatever planet's happening right now? You know, and that's okay. And it's loving yourself through that, honoring yourself through that. In the mystery school, we work a lot with Aphrodite with this. She is brilliant in bringing through energy to help you with self-love, acceptance in the shadow, and showing yourself compassion towards that and loving yourself so much in that space because of the amazing work that you're doing, the amazing release that you're doing. You should be so proud of yourself in those moments. And she brings through such a gorgeous energy for us in that. So yeah, it's just really loving and honoring who you are, what you bring to the table, the wisdom that you've learned throughout these situations that you've been through, you know, because we're not always connected. We're not always, you know, in this beautiful, light, connected, fully intuitive space. You know, sometimes we're triggered, sometimes we feel like shit, sometimes we're angry, sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're jealous, sometimes we're like, you know, feeling really nostalgic and craving the past, and that's okay. Old wounds resurface, and this is where the transformation is. And you know, you want to be loving and honoring yourself in that transformation. This is the path of the rose. This is that divine feminine connection to Venus, the shadow, which again we talk about a lot in the mystery school, and we, you know, and that process. But yeah, like I said, this is where that transformation happens, the ascension happens. And, I invite you to ask yourself, can you meet yourself with compassion the next time something comes up? And can we release the attachment? Because I think what happens is stuff comes up for healing and we get all, what am I going to do? Where's this coming from? I thought I'd already healed this. And we get all like panicky and anxiety about it rather than just allowing it to flow. The sacred feminine is allowing yourself to flow through the emotions, flow through what's coming up, not attach to it and make a big deal out of it. Even though some of the stuff is a big deal, I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to diminish the work that we do, but yeah, it's about allowing the emotions to flow and to not get into a state of anxiety and attachment over what's wrong or what's happening or the fact that you've healed this already or why is it still coming up and all of that, right? And I'm not saying, again, if we do get angry about it, no judgment. It's fine. And we allow ourselves to flow through that. So just recapping these 5 things: speak your desires, follow your intuition, honor and respect the feminine body, create small ritual, and embrace the healing and the shadow. And, you're already a beautiful, divine, feminine being. It's just really being more connected into that and practicing that and bringing that into daily life and, into the body, to the inner world. So it's about living that life of spirituality, not just practicing it in certain spaces. Like I said, there are so many women that say, I'm fine when I'm actually in a meditation or in a yoga class, or when I have a healing, I feel so good. And then real life kicks back in and it all disappears. And this is what we do in the mystery school. This is what we learn, is to bring these practices so it is a way of being. Your alignment, your divine feminine, you're speaking up, you're standing in your authority and your sovereignty. It just becomes who you are. So, we explore them deeply in the Inner Circle, which is launching in September. So it's not a space of just learning and more information, although we do talk about things. We do learn about the goddesses. We do learn about different ways of healing, but, it's more a space of actually exploring intuition, exploring healing, working with the goddesses in circle who come forward to heal and activate different things within you to help you to move it from that space of it just happened, my spirituality and my alignment happens just over here, but I can't do it in everyday life. So that's what we practice, that's what we bring forward, so that we're feeling super awesome and giving ourselves love and compassion and all of the things that we've just talked about today. So if you would love some conversations with like-minded women, if you would love monthly circles where we are connecting and working with the goddesses, working to explore and open up your intuition, your connection to your guides and angels and beings, then this is the place to come. Come and join us in the Inner Circle. I'm going to pop the link in the show notes or below, depending on where you are listening and watching. So, because like I said, it's one thing to listen to this podcast, it's one thing to read another book on something, but it's about being in a space where you can actually practice and walk the walk. So, I would love to have you with us. Anyway, it's time for me to go, and I will see you all again very soon. Thanks so much for being here. Much appreciated. I'll see you soon. Bye.